In this video we will talk about heart rate calculation. Heart rate is easy to measure with an ECG. There are many ways to measure your heart rate. Heart rate is measured in beats per minute. The easiest way to accurately calculate heart rate is to count a series of large squares. Beats per minute are calculated by dividing 300 by the number of large squares between two adjacent air waves, RR interval, or by dividing 1500 by the number of small squares between two adjacent air waves if the paper speed is 25 mm per second. For example, there are 5 large squares or 25 small squares between two consecutive R waves. The heart rate can be calculated by dividing 300 by 5 large squares. Another method is to divide 1500 by 25 small squares. If the RR interval cannot be stated in an exact number of large squares, each small square, it is equal to 0.2 of the large square, as one large square contains 5 small squares, should be added to the number of large squares. For example, if the RR interval contains 4 large squares and 2 small squares, the heart rate is 68 beats per minute. Another simple method of calculating heart rate is based on the following sequence. If the RR interval contains 1 large square, the heart rate is 300 beats per minute. 2 large squares indicate a heart rate of 150 beats per minute. The RR interval of 3 large squares corresponds to a heart rate of 100 beats per minute. Continue in this order. If the heart rate is in the normal range, 60 to 100 beats per minute, the RR interval will be between 3 and 5 large squares. If the paper speed is 50 mm per second, the methods described above can be used, but with some peculiarities. Instead of the numbers 300 and 1500, the numbers 600 and 3000 are used. It's possible to use the sequence when the paper speed is 50 mm per second, but with one peculiarity: calculate every second large square. If the heart rate is in the normal range, 60 to 100 beats per minute, the RR interval will be between 6 and 10 large squares. The RR interval, measured in seconds, or milliseconds, is important. To calculate it, the number of large squares should be multiplied by 0.2 or the number of small squares should be multiplied by 0.04 if the paper speed is 25 mm per second. Also, each small square, equal to 0.2 of the large square, can be added to the number of large squares. For example, there are 3 large squares between two consecutive R intervals. The RR interval is calculated by multiplying 3 by 0.2. So the RR interval is 0.6 seconds. To find the heart rate, divide 60 by 0.6. The heart rate is 100 beats per minute. If the paper speed is 50 mm per second, the number of large squares should be multiplied by 0.1 and the number of small squares should be multiplied by 0.02. For example, there are 8 large squares and 3 small squares between two consecutive R intervals. The RR interval is calculated by multiplying 43 by 0.02. So the RR interval is 860 milliseconds. To find the heart rate, divide 60 by 0.86. The heart rate is 70 beats per minute. Although an ECG device typically provides heart rate in RR intervals, sometimes heart rate is measured incorrectly, which can lead to incorrect ECG interpretation. That's why you need to be able to measure the RR interval and heart rate yourself. Some examples: the paper speed is 25 mm per second, of heart rate measurement in different ways are given below. Now some examples are shown. The RR interval consists of 4 large squares. According to the sequence, the heart rate is 75 beats per minute. The RR interval is 2 large squares. According to the sequence 3, the heart rate is 150 beats per minute. The RR interval is 2 large squares and 2 small squares. The heart rate is calculated as shown. The RR interval is 21 little squares. The heart rate is calculated as shown. The RR interval is 3 large squares and 3 small squares. The heart rate is calculated this way. The RR interval is 5 large squares and 3 small squares. This is how the heart rate is calculated. The previously described methods of heart rate calculation can be used when the rhythm is regular. However, there are many rhythm abnormalities that are characterized by variable RR intervals. It's not enough to measure only one RR interval or maximum and minimum RR intervals. If the heart rhythm is irregular, the heart rate is measured with the 6-second ECG strip. It's very easy to measure heart rate this way, just count the QRS complexes on the 6-second rhythm strip and multiply by 10. For example, 5 QRS complexes fit into 6 seconds. The heart rate is 50 beats per minute. There are 16 QRS complexes in 6 seconds. Heart rate is 160 beats per minute. Some ECG devices record the rhythm strip for 10 seconds. In this case, the number of QRS complexes should be multiplied by 6. The length of the rhythm strip is usually written on the ECG and can be changed. For example, 14 QRS complexes fit into 10 seconds. The heart rate is 84 beats per minute. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe.